Change your heart, change your life, change the planet.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Van Orden, and I have got an inspirational quote for you today. Ta-da! Never say that you can't do something, or that something seems impossible, or that something can't be done, no matter how discouraging or harrowing it may be. Human beings are only limited by what we allow ourselves to be limited by, our own minds. We are the masters of our own reality. And the moment we become self-aware to this, anything in the world is possible. Mike Norton. That is so inspiring. It's inspiring me to make a video right now because it pisses me off. So I don't know who this Mike Norton guy is, so I looked him up on Google. And according to my search results, he's either a professor at Harvard with a PhD in psychology, or he's a very successful comic book artist. And for the sake of the students at Harvard, I hope it's the latter, because this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I think it represents most of what's wrong with the self-help industry. And yes, it is an industry. There are a group of people trying to get money out of you by getting you to believe ridiculous things. Don't do it. To get under the hood of why I think this quote is so dangerous, we're going to go way back to 1999, when David Dunning and Justin Kruger, who were two researchers at Cornell, were doing studies on undergraduates and their confidence about an upcoming exam. Interestingly, those who scored in the bottom 25% on the exam believed that they were going to score way above average. In other words, they overestimated their intelligence, their ability, their skill, and their competence. Way overestimated it. After a series of similar studies, they concluded that when it comes to a particular skill, those with limited experience or proficiency generally fall victim to a cognitive bias which they called illusory superiority, which has the following characteristics. 1, a failure to acknowledge their lack of ability. 2, a failure to acknowledge the scope of their inadequacy. 3, a failure to accurately assess ability in others. And 4, a delayed recognition of their shortcomings, which comes only after exposure to extensive training in the skill area being tested. In the time since these studies were conducted, this phenomenon has been called the Dunning-Kruger effect, to honor the two researchers who first discovered this. The real gem of this discovery is that it illustrates two different types of self-awareness. First, we have the awareness of our self-concept, which is who we think we are in the world, who we would like to be in the world, who we fantasize about being in the world. And second, our embodied self, which is the self that's in the trenches, actually doing the work, the person on the ground. Me. Not I, but me. So in Mike Norton's inspiring quote above, the self-awareness that he's talking about is the awareness of our self-concept. And he believes that if we become aware of this underlying, true, universal, perfect self-concept, that we can suddenly accomplish anything. What he's not talking about is the awareness of our present self, the self right here that's experiencing the world, that's feeling things, that has warts and blemishes and photos of us in the 90s wearing things that we wouldn't be caught dead in today. That self. Who's interested in that one? That guy has to work. This perfect self-concept doesn't have to work. It's magical. It can just manifest things. Our actual self is less likely to take risks. It's less likely to get out there and say, come on, bring it, because it's aware of reality. But our self-concept is like, I don't care about reality. I have this magical, perfect, super powerful, superhuman self-concept. And I'm going to go out there and do things that are so far above and beyond my abilities. And I will succeed because my self-concept tells me so. And this is where we get into trouble. When our self-concept is not in alignment or not in sync with our actual self. And this quote is setting people up to make huge mistakes, setting people up to believe that their left prefrontal cortex, where that self-concept exists, is our only truth. And if we can only get the right side out of the way, if we can only get this flesh suit out of the way and get our emotions, these pesky emotions that keep getting in our way, if we can remove them, wow, then this abstract, ungrounded, unbounded, perfect self-concept can finally emerge, and we can take over the world. In order to move towards goals in a healthy way, we need to make sure that our self-concept and our actual self are only a little bit apart. We want the self-concept to be a slight stretch over what we can actually do right now. Instead of being 100 miles away, let's make it maybe 100 millimeters. Right about there. What do you think? Yeah, there we go. A healthy self-concept is one that is regularly informed and then updated by the data being collected by our actual self, the guy in the streets, the embedded reporter. But if our self-concept is not open to this stream of data coming in from the actual self, from the right side, we get into big trouble. The data's coming in, and it's like, I don't care, I'm ignoring it, I don't care what you think of me, I don't care what just happened to my body, I don't care if I got injured because I was running a lot, I don't care if I got sick because I did this, I don't care if everybody's screaming at me on YouTube, it doesn't matter. All that matters is my self-concept. It's perfect and it's immortal, and it doesn't need to be modified. I was born perfect, can't you see? We need to continually update this self-concept, or the steps that we're going to take are going to be way out of sync with our present state, our current capabilities, our social environment, and the state of the world around us. And this can only lead to bad things, unless you are exceptionally lucky. And don't count on that happening. But wait a minute, my self-concept is lucky all the time. I've won the lottery 100 times in the future. Just because I haven't won it yet doesn't mean anything. You should see the future that I see. What I don't want is you coming away from this video thinking that I'm telling you not to dream big. Big dreams are great, but just make sure that you've got a path that leads to those big dreams, and that path starts where you are right now with your current capabilities, and that you do a diagnostic check, get mindful, get present, not only of yourself, but of the world around you and of the people in your life. What are they capable of doing? What are they interested in? Are they supporting you? Are they not? What about the world? Is it supporting you or is it not? What about my body? What about my finances? Am I taking a risk that is way, way, way out of alignment with what I actually have right now? Or am I saying, I can take a small risk, and if I fail, it won't be so bad. It's not going to bankrupt me because I'm present to my actual situation. I'm present to what I can actually do. And I'm present to how much I can afford to lose, whether it's money or time or energy or a tiny part of my body. Maybe a muscle cell got torn because I went to the gym. Oh no! Or maybe it's a friendship or a relationship. What can you afford to lose when you take this step? You'll only know if you check in and get present to what you currently have and what you can currently do and what the results are likely to be if you take this step based on experience, not based on self-concept. Because the longer you take action in a state of being blind to everything but your self-concept, the more toes you're going to step on, the more bridges you're going to burn, and the more damage you're going to do to the world around you and to yourself. So the next time somebody tells you that you can do anything if you just believe it's possible, take a moment and think about it. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's tune in and check out what we can currently do and check out what we've got available to us to work with. Maybe I can get there. I don't know. Let's find out. But I'm not going to blindly believe that I can before I actually check out what's going on and what I've got to work with. So there you go. Not everything in life is possible, but some things are, and you won't know until you tune in and check it out. Give it a try, see what you got, and see what you can do with it. All right? Thank you so much to everybody that's supporting me on Patreon, and if you don't know about my Patreon account, check it out, patreon.com/Tim Van Orden. That helps me out to make more videos like this. I've got a ton of content that I'm going to be uploading that nobody else in the world has ever seen or heard. It's only available on Patreon. So help me to help you, and I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye. I think this quote is absolute rubbish with a capital R. Roar. Our own minds. Our own minds our own minds. What? I've never heard of Mr. Norton, so I looked him up. And here's what Google had to say about Mikey. I think this quote falls into the category of comic relief, because I can see Mr. Norton taking a break from his comics, sitting down on the toilet and trying to relieve himself, and as he struggles to get his constipated number 2 out, he's like, oh, if I just believe it's possible, I know I can get it out. Oh, God, I shouldn't have eaten 3 pizzas last night. We're gonna rock it to the moon. Well, Mr. Dunning, I ought to tell you, you're not as smart as you think you are. My mama always said that stupid is as stupid does. Wow, Mike, you just totally made me quiver in my timbers. No, I'm shivering in my timbers. Which timbers are they talking about? I'm not sure. Is it a log cabin? Is it like a log cabin with no heat? They didn't start a fire and I'm shivering in my timbers? I'm about to drop the mic on this punk and tell you why I think this quote is junk. Here's a comic who thinks he's cool, but if you read this crap, he's just a fool. Because I am not a fan of this quote. Don't you dare believe things like this, or I will come to your house late at night and I will suck your blood.